Jamel President grew up less than a mile from the College of Charleston and graduated from Burke High School. He was as hard-nosed and spirited as any player I have ever coached. On the defensive end, he always guarded our opponent's best scorer. His jump shot was picture perfect, and he iced many games with his foul shots. In fact, in his senior year, he ranked 4th nationally from the foul stripe. He played in the backcourt with Anthony Johnson, and they made a magnificent duo. In an NCAA game against Stanford at the United Center in Chicago, Jamel was voted Chevrolet Player of the Game. After graduation from the college, Jamel has given so much back to the community. He presents to youngsters seminars in SAT taking and academics, and conducts clinics and camps teaching the ABCs of basketball. He is also president and CEO of the Day Foundation. Jamel, congratulations, and a big thanks for your contributions and the role model you have become for the youth of Charleston.
President Benson.
Dating we find every life.
Let's go, let's jump, let's go. It's all right. Behavior down here, Justin. Momentum. Go back. Momentum. Catch. All right, meet the pass. 1, 2, that's the call back. Why do you back there? You can't go here behind the back, right? That's just where the legs come here. When you went lateral here, you caught up. You gotta be between the legs and you change direction. It doesn't matter if you block it or not. Just you getting up there and having them change the shot that much makes it defensive. You don't have to touch it. Yeah. Get it. And again, you're moving laterally. So there's no threat. You have to make the pass and put in that area. You can't keep doing this. Alright? You should be moving forward, not laterally. first initial move, you gotta create that contact. Come again. Okay. You do a shot fake. Do the shot fake. You went there. When that shot fake come, I'm gonna shoulder off. When you come this way, you give him a chance to recover. That's why you recover every time. You gotta create that contact. I'm gonna right at his shoulder every time. Get him. Gotta keep on going with it. You really get a lot better. I'm hitting that contact. Like that, there's no, you gotta limit it. It's like, once you go and you feel it and you stop, you gotta go and then create something here. You see what I'm saying? But you will never get to the position here where you turn your back to the basketball guard. Alright? Let's go. I'm gonna go close it off. You come here. You make me a little move. I'm coming here.
He's one of the most recognizable politicians in South Carolina politics. And now, Charlie Lybrand is up for re-election in November. I had a chance to talk with him for a special edition of Quentin's Close-Ups. Tell me, you have been in politics, and you're actually one of the longest continuous serving Republicans in the Low Country. I'm wondering, what does that mean to you?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I've been here for 20 years,
Right, yeah.
and I've never seen a Democratic deed or a Republican deed come across our desk.
Wow. Wow.
We serve the public.
Public, yeah, it's not politics.
It's not politics.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And let's go back to 1994. You really sent shockwaves to Charleston County when you actually beat out the incumbent RMC. Put on your thinking hat and tell me, how much did that shock you?
I really wasn't shocked. I mean, I had been serving on Charleston County Council for 4 years.
Right.
My opponent was a Democrat.
Right, I remember that.
He was a lifelong Democrat. He was concerned that that the Democrats were going to put a black man in the Democratic primary, and he thought he was going to lose.
Wow.
So he shifted over and became a Republican.
Wow.
And so in the primary, when I came into this same desk right here, I walked in, I shook his hand, and I said, "Mr. King, I'm going to be running for RMC."
Yeah.
He said, "You can't do that." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, they told me that if I switched, I wouldn't have competition." I said, "Well, Mr. King, they didn't tell me that, whoever they are."
Right.
And so I think that in the end result, what happened was we had a Democrat running in a Republican primary, and I think the Republicans who knew me as a council member voted and elected me. And so I think that that's the reason that I won. You know, he should have stayed true. I would have lost in the general election had he stayed a Democrat.
Right. And tell me, as we go back to your time on Charleston County Council, what was that like?
I was very, very fortunate to have served on council under a fellow by the name of Ed Favor.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Favor, Captain Favor, didn't play politics. He laid out everything that we did on a yellow sheet, as they called it. He gave us what the staff recommended. He gave us an option if the staff didn't recommend it, this is what we could do. And he gave us a third option that this is, if we do this, is what's going to happen. And so I was spoiled because when we went to the meeting, the staff had done their work. And so we knew what we could do.
Yes.
My council really cared for each other. We had disagreements on policy,
Sure.
but there was never a foul word spoken about anybody. Nobody tried to cut anybody's throat.
Right.
We used to call it the PLC, the parking lot committee.
Really?
We'd talk out in the parking lot,
Right.
and we would say what's best for you. I ran back then under what was known as the residency requirements.
Okay.
I lived in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was my residency, but the whole county voted for me. That has since changed.
Oh, yeah.
It is now single-member districts.
Yeah.
And I think the single-member districts are good to elect minorities. I'm not so sure that it's good for county government.
Okay.
Because what occurs is that you have a small district in North Charleston, and you sort of lose what's important in Mount Pleasant because the Mount Pleasant people can't vote for you.
That's true.
So it has pros and cons. I think that it's overall, I have no problem with it. But the fact of the matter is, I would have liked to have seen a couple of at-large seats so that you would have had some kind of a continuity on the county government. Because what occurred, Quentin, is that with home rule coming in, the legislature backed away from some of their normal duties in the county. The cities were parochial, they did their thing. The county was supposed to do things like roads, they were supposed to do things with communication, they were supposed to do things with the solid waste, with the EMS, all of those kind of things. Well, that should never be split up in a small piece of the pie. That should be something that everybody cares about.
Okay.
I-26 is a good example.
Oh, yes.
Or 526, I guess it is. You've got certain council members who really want it, but can't admit they want it because they've got people in their constituencies who are loud and want to vote against it. So
it goes back to politics.
Politics. That's right. Yeah.
Dating we find better life.
Fundamentally Mindful. We're here today with best friend, guy I grew up with, that indulged in the sport, Deron Harding. How you doing today, big guy?
How you doing?
Good, good. So we're gonna go right into it, Deron. Take us down memory lane. Talk about the Deron Harding coming up. Deron Harding, coming out of Charleston and wanting to play the sport. Take us through, middle, high school years when you're, coming up as wanting to be that player.
Well, I grew up in downtown Charleston. I grew up on the east side of Charleston, Hanover Street, Columbus Street. All your landmarks that's over there. Ernie's, Earl Brown, Mall Park, Trident Tech, Wilmot J. Frazier. That's all my zone over there. So I went to Wilmot J. Frazier. After Wilmot J. Frazier, I went to Courtney Middle School. Courtney Middle School, that's when, let me retract. I first started playing this game at 6 years old at the Robert Gould Boys and Girls Club.
That's crucial.
On Mary Street. Okay. And the guy that taught me the game, his name was Tom White. He did a really good job of just trying to keep, the kids in our neighborhood off the street and interested in something. Mm-hmm. So, and my mom was a daycare provider right next to the boys club, so she was kind of using that as a babysitting tool. And I also learned the game of basketball there. Once I learned the game of basketball, I fell in love with it, and I tried to emulate a lot of the older guys that I came up watching. So that's how I developed a love for basketball. So fast forward, going to Courtney Middle School, grew up with a whole host of friends. All of us at one point in time played basketball in the boys club, whether it was Winter League or everybody like yourself, everybody played in Summer League. You know, so Summer League was really, really popular when we was growing up. So time I got to 6th grade, I started developing a real keen, real love for basketball. Yeah, just as well as you know, the guys that I grew up with. It kind of took away from me because I got into boxing. A lot of people didn't know that. I used to box for Hollywood. Going into my 9th grade year, you know, we enrolled in Garrett. I enrolled in Garrett. And at Garrett, met a host of, you know, really good friends still to this day. And I didn't really try out for Garrett's team. They kind of knew who I was just through the grapevine. They knew I was associated with everybody that was from Burke. They knew that I was from downtown. So the coach kind of came to me and was like, they wanted me to be on the varsity. You know, so I jumped from boxing. I jumped from Summer League to boxing to varsity in the 9th grade at Garrett.
Now, leaving high school, leaving college, and you got a job. So when did the assistant coach? When did the coaching thing kind of took place? Take us on a journey where those things started happening, because you know you're in Baltimore, Maryland for a little while coaching, when you had a lot of success there. Then you got about 8 to 10 play people in the league, from football to basketball that you've been associated with, and then you know traveled to Atlanta and then back to Baltimore. Take us a timeline about when all that took place and how you got into coaching, and how it kind of relieved some of the outlet of being involved with the sport.
Okay. One thing great about college, for my college life, I met my wife at college. My wife, it was a track star. She was a track star in Baltimore, and she came to Shaw to run track, and she was an all CIAA performer in track. So I met my wife at Shaw. After I finished playing my senior year, after I graduated from Shaw, the same track coach that introduced me to the head coach, the head men's basketball coach, he came and pulled me up and he said, I need an assistant to help out with intramural all-stars. So I didn't know what that entails. I just said, I'll do it. So actually, it was an all-star team from Shaw, but they played in like the intramural championships. So you got to play against East Carolina, University of North Carolina Central, A&T. So I got in it through that way, and I caught the bug. We were successful. I caught the bug. So me and my wife, we lived in Raleigh for a little while after we graduated, maybe about 2 years, and then we moved to Baltimore. So when we moved to Baltimore, I was trying to find my niche because, never been to Baltimore before. I was trying to find my niche, and I drove past a PAL center, and a PAL center is like a recreational center. So I drove past a PAL center, and I saw some kids playing outside, and I just decided to stop in. I introduced myself to the director, and kind of told him a little bit about me. And the director was, she was, real receptive to me. She would say, well, you know what? I'm gonna give you a chance. Come on, and work with the kids. So I came in, worked with them, worked on some fundamental stuff. So she said, how would you like to develop a team? And I was telling her, like, I don't know anybody here. It's gonna be hard for me to basically get into the loop. So she kind of helped me did that, and I coached the PAL for 1 year. And during that 1 year, a Catholic League coach from the Baltimore Catholic League, from a school called Cardinal Gibbons, he was scouting a player that we were playing against. So I had 8th graders playing, and the coach from the high school was scouting a player that was supposedly coming to his high school. And I guess he liked, some things that I was doing, and I won the game too, with less talented kids. And I think that kind of sparked his interest in me. So he invited me down to Cardinal Gibbons, and he said, let's come down to the school and take a look, and no rush. And so I went down and talked with him, and we had a great conversation for about an hour, and he offered me the head coach to be the freshman team head coach.
for a hard day's work, baby. Just so I ain't gotta watch y'all miss no more layups, so y'all you just gonna run for a couple of minutes. That's all. Just so I ain't gotta watch no more miss layups.
Touch the line, so it don't count. Touch the line, so it don't count.
So, first game, Charleston, Burke, December 6th. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you feel about the game coming up?
Well, I've been in my share of rivalries, Baptist back in 2012, but I think this here tops it all. Burke in North Charleston. You think about Charleston, you think about the elite basketball programs down here, which is North Charleston and Burke. Tradition that started way back before I was even born. Just coming in here, just trying to just let the guys understand the magnitude of the game, but at the same time, the purpose of it. A lot of times you get caught up in Burke and Charleston, but at the same time, you still have to go out and win a game. Last year it meant a lot because we were in the same conference, so that game meant a lot. Based down, this game is a non-conference game, so we want to approach it a little different. We want to approach it with the mindset of winning, but at the same time, not making it more bigger than what it is. But as coaches, you get excited for it, the kids get excited for it, the week leading up to it is exciting. So we're ready for it, but December 2nd, we travel to West Asheville. That's how we make it.
The biggest thing as a coach gets prepared for, coaching gets prepared for execution on the court. What you got to do individually is that right now, if I ask you 2 or 3 questions, I can tell right now if y'all gonna win the another Charleston game. Right? What's your position? What's the position you playing against on North Charleston? One guard? What's his strength? Who is it?
Justin?
Yeah, man. That's a problem. That's a problem. Who you playing against? What's his strengths? What's his strengths? What's his weakness? You see what I'm saying? That's how you win ball games, coach. And when we lose games by 5 or less, who fault is it? The team. We talk about that. When it's 6 or more, it's a coach's situation. But 5 or less, free throws, turnovers, not executing. That'll be the first one. No, I just go to practice. I'm the first one to practice shooting. Everybody coming when you practice, I'm dog tired. I'm not leaving out the gym until the last person leaves out the gym. You know why? Because I'm a leader. You know why? So when the game time comes, who's taking that last shot? You know why? Why? No. Not because I was preparing for it. Why? No. That's true, but why? What's the real reason why I'm able to take that shot? Thank you. My team expect to take that shot. Yeah. You in the gym every day, like they know I'm gonna take the shot. When miss or make, it's accepted. They see me putting that work in.
Dating we find out life.
So what I'm hearing, adverse situations, wanting to play for Burke, didn't happen. Proceed. Got to college, walked on, made a team. senior year, senior, high school senior, college senior, same situation happened. You proceed. All right, you got to 3 different situations as far as coaching, build those programs up. So that goes right back to what we talked about before about being that kid from Charleston, having all those adverse situations. We don't even look at adverse situations as adverse situations. You know what we say? Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, let me just do something else. Let me just keep. It's not in our makeup to stop. And that's what perseverance, does. For a situation like yourself. Talk about that grind and grit that we all from Charleston have, and how that applies to your everyday life, which is something that we talked about, the oatmeal recipe, which is nutrition, education, and skill development. And for our skill development, and what I'm hearing from you, being able to have an interview for 4 hours, meaning that you have a lot to say. You can keep people engaged. That's a skill. The education part of it, knowing your resumes, sending emails. That's an educational part of what you learn how to apply that to communicating. And then the nutrition part of it. We're healthy people at almost 40. That's very important. Talk about the adverse situation and how those 3 ingredients applies to your everyday life.
Number one, I always was a big dreamer. I was a big dreamer. You can ask some of the friends that I grew up with in my neighborhood. I always had a extensive imagination. And talking with one of my brothers some years ago, and we were just talking about my success as a coach, and my brother said, you know what, you was always a coach. And it didn't ring, it didn't register with me like I was always a coach. And he was like, in the house, when we can't go outside, you bend a hanger up, put it on the back door, ball up 2 pairs of socks. We playing basketball. Okay? You take a shoe, tie the laces around the shoe, and now we in the house, we playing football. You taught us how to play football. You taught us how to play basketball. You put socks. You put 3 socks inside 1 sock and put on a glove. Now we boxing. So he's like, you always was a coach. You always was a coach. So I didn't know I had that in me, but I always knew I was a big dreamer. So that was the part that I knew I had in me, and I always, I developed. So when I got into coaching, and I've been blessed to be around so many great coaches, that the skill development part was a big component to exceed to the next level. And I developed this philosophy, and I wish we had this when we were growing up. I developed, when talent meets talent, fundamental overcomes that. So if I'm talented and you're talented, but I'm more fundamental than you, I'm probably going to beat you. I'm probably going to have an edge against you.
In the long run.
Yeah, in the long run. So the fundamental part, I developed that just through my coaching and the skill development. That is so key to whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. If you want to be a lawyer, you got to work on your skill. But that just really got vital with me throughout the years as I got older. Because, growing up in Charleston, we didn't think about nutrition.
But don't think that's a bad thing, because had I known these 3 ingredients right now, I'd just be finishing up my NBA career.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Had I known nutrition was vital, had I known, I did skill development and work on my game just because I was a hard worker, just because I wanted to work. I didn't know that if I continue to work, I would be a lot better longer than other people, and I would, be able to sustain. I didn't know those things. So don't be mad, or that we didn't know that nutrition at that point was vital. That's all part of maturation.
focus on Burke only. Why? It's because the game we play, and that's the only reason why. That's the only reason why. If we commit over 20 turnovers a night, our chance to win will be very, very slim. If we don't rebound the basketball the way we're supposed to rebound the basketball, our chances to win is going to be very slim. If we don't convert 20 baskets tonight, our chances to win will be very slim. Alright, now on top of that, if we commit less turnovers, take care of the basketball, be efficient on offense, there's a good chance we will win the basketball. If we rebound the basketball the way that I know and the way that John knows we should rebound the basketball, there's a great chance we're going to win. Alright? If we play with some kind of smartness, we play with some kind of intensity, we play North Charleston basketball, there's going to be a great chance that we're going to win. Alright? This team right here is very athletic. Alright? They're going to look to get out and run. Alright? But guess what? We like to run too. Alright? We like to run too. But I think the team that makes the least amount of mistakes and the team that capitalizes on the other team's mistakes is going to have a good chance to win the basketball. Alright? So now, what we have to do is we have to take care of the basketball first. No, y'all got to take care of the basketball.
Growing up on the east side, you know, it was always tough, a tough place to survive in. But I never even thought about it like that. I know me and my friends, we talk about it all the time, that we didn't even think that we were living in a bad neighborhood. Right. You know, I can't speak for the youth that's down there now, but I know the older guys that was out in the street, they kind of sheltered us from a lot of that stuff. So a lot of the stuff that was going on back in the day, that's going on today, we didn't really even have any whim or any knowledge of that stuff. we would hear from other people, from other side of town. And, we might want to get a game at Mall Park and say, y'all come play us on Mall Park. And they'd be like, no, we ain't coming around there. My mother said I can't come around there. So we never even thought about why y'all can't come around here all the time. And, not that it was a good thing, but I was 13, 14 and hanging out at 1 o'clock in the morning and walking the streets or meeting the street and not even thinking about it. I'm going home. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's very, very dangerous for a young kid these days. So, but my brother died 2007. That was a real, real tough time for me. He actually died 20 days before I got married. Wow. He died 20 days before I got married, and he was supposed to be in the wedding and everything. I can remember the last day I talked to my brother. It was the Lakers and the Mavericks series going on. He was a big Mavericks fan, a big Burke whiskey fan, and we talked about 1 in the morning, just going back and forth, ribbing on each other about the Mavs and talking about the playoffs and everything like that. So that was actually the last conversation I had with my little brother. And the night of that Mayweather De La Hoya fight, some things transpired, and he passed away. But I couldn't have made it without the strength of my wife and my family here in Baltimore, because I was in Baltimore. Everybody else is in Charleston, so I didn't come to Charleston until it was time for the wage and freedom and all that stuff. So, man, I was going through it up here, but I had such a strong support system, with my in-laws and with my wife, that it kind of made me be a little stronger for when I got down to Charleston for my family and me being the oldest, and I think my mom kind of fed off of that, because she seen me strong, and even though she was hurt, but she took a cue from me, and it's like, if he's holding up, then I can hold up, so and then it trickled down. My other brothers, they saw that I'm holding up, well, we can hold up, and then my family, if they holding up, then we can hold up. So it was definitely tough, but again, I persevered through it, and a lot of things that I do now since 07, I do it just personally inside. I do it in the name of my brother, So a lot of stuff, when people tell me that I can't do something, I always say, me and Greg gonna do this together. I always say that in my head. So I'm using him as a motivational tool to push me, to spaces and places that I wouldn't even think I'd touch. So I just try to stay in the positive. Always, any chance I get a chance to talk to any youth in Charleston, I kind of let them know, my story and where I'm coming from, and let them know that you can make it, man. And as an adult, I had some hardships and everything, but I was able to persevere. And in Charleston, man, we grew up tough. You gotta have tough skin in Charleston.
You gotta have tough skin.
You gotta have tough skin. And I haven't lived in Charleston since I was 19 years old. I haven't stayed in Charleston no more than a week since I was 19 years old. And the things that I resonated from birth to 19 years old is still with me today. And just the toughness, the perseverance, that won't take no for an answer, and to be able to maneuver in different areas and be a chameleon in different areas. I learned all of that from growing up in Charleston.
You said, that song by Jay-Z said, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. You can make it in Charleston. I think you can make it anywhere.
Make it anywhere, yeah.
Because just far as what's going on now in our today youth, there's a lot of things going on with our youth, and Charleston being the hub of all that stuff. We get it. We get it every day. It's tough, being a young black male in society, but even in Charleston, where there's the job situation, that's globally, but I'm not gonna get totally into that, because that's not what the show is about. But at least the community and the viewers know, being from Charleston, you don't have to always not be successful. You don't always have to end up in crime or in drugs or whatever our stories are. And I want to get my hats off to you, because I tell you all the time, that well, you might not hear, but I talk people all the time talking about, hey, this is a former student athlete. I'm talking to kids that didn't make it through basketball, but persevered, worked hard. Now he's living his dream, not playing basketball, but teaching and being it every day. Like you said, when you got in DC, he was guilty of being a watcher because just saturated with so much good basketball, you get lost in that type of stuff. Anything that you want to, tell the youth or tell any guys, people from Charleston about, about the other side, what it takes, because if they're already in Charleston, they already have the main ingredients to make those things happen. You just got to add water to the seed. You know what I mean? Talk about in closing. Talk about any message that you want to tell the kids moving forward.
Main thing: don't take no for an answer. Don't take no for an answer. You're gonna hit bumps in the road all the time. No matter where you are, you're gonna hit bumps in the road. But you got to continue to work at it. Continue to work at it. You also got to be humble. You got to be real humble, and you also got to be hungry. You can't be content. I could have easily been content saying, "Wow, I'm a high school coach now, so I'm good." And now I'm a Division III assistant college coach now. Now I just had a conversation with my head coach the other day. Now I want to be a Division III head coach. I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm doing all the necessary things I need to do to achieve that goal in the hopefully the next 2 to 3 years. I'm doing everything that I need to do. So don't take no for an answer, and stay humble, stay hungry, and you will persevere. But you also gotta stay prayed up too. Because that's a big component. Whatever your religion, whatever your faith is, you got to stay in that, because you're going to have people try to pull you away from that negative comments. You're going to have people trying to pull you away from that by trying to influence you through their experiences. But each of us are different individuals. So you got to keep praying and keep pushing that you're going to be able to, make your own way. We grew up playing against each other all the time. Pick up basketball on the courts in Charleston back in, when we were growing up, were big time. If you didn't get to the court at a certain time, you probably won't play. And if your team loses and you're not a good player, you probably won't get picked up for another game. So we were just talking about how you could just play. You can go one Saturday and just only play one game the whole day, because the competition is so thick out there. So Jamel came up with a phrase, and in Charleston, when we played pickup, we always went to 32s by twos. So Jamel picked up a phrase, coined a phrase, and he always coined a phrase saying, 32 is not on me. And that kind of resonated with everybody, because now it got everybody thinking about defense versus offense. And it became an individual pride thing, because not only that you would say 32 is not on me, you would let the whole park know that 32 isn't on me. You probably would point to the guy that you're guarding and saying that he's not going to score. Right. So 32 not on me, you can resonate that in your daily life. You can resonate that in your daily life.
And one of the reasons, when I think about it, I didn't want to let my team down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm putting everybody on point. I'm letting you know the game-winning shot is not going to come from the person I'm defending.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right.
So my other 4 other players on my team, y'all got to join in with me and say, y'all players that y'all defending won't score. And what that does is it puts, even in today, I put myself out in that win. You know what I mean? Because even I'm so competitive that if the guy is doing another TV show, if a guy is doing some training or whatever, I'm going to win. I'm going to be that guy that's going to outwork you. I don't care however I figure out, I'm going to outwork you and make sure that I get that winning nod. So just coming up and being that I'm a scorer, I took pride in defense as well. You know what I mean? That's just because I felt that when I'm playing and I'm scoring on you, I'm making you look a certain way. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm giving that up, I'm not going to be able to be receptive to that as well.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So 32 ain't on me is something that, I just want everybody to know that, hey, I'm buckling down right now. This time to get in. That's where crunch time come in. That's where all your adverse situations come in. When you say 32 ain't on me, but you can say, well, I'm going to get this job. I'm not going to let, specimen B beat me out. And those are things that, we take it upon our normal life, and add to it.